Mojtaba's latest special message to Hezbollah comes just as the group unleashes around 40 attacks in 24 hours, tying his words of support directly to one of the fiercest barrages on Israel's northern front. Framing its operations as revenge for Iran, Hezbollah has pounded northern Israel with rockets, missiles, and drones, leaving multiple IDF soldiers dead and forcing Israel to stretch its defenses thin across the border. At the same time, Yemen's Houthi movement has joined in with its own missile and drone launches toward Israel, raising the specter of simultaneous pressure from Hezbollah in the north and the Houthis from the Red Sea, and leaving the IDF increasingly cornered on multiple fronts. Amid the raging war, Iran's Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei has written a message to Hezbollah chief Naim Qassem, underscoring Tehran's continued political engagement with its key Lebanese ally. In this message, Mojtaba reportedly pledged that Iran will keep supporting anti-Israel resistance groups such as Hezbollah, framing their struggle as part of a broader fight against the United States and Israel. The details of Mojtaba's special message were reported by Iranian state outlet Press TV on April 1st, which highlighted his vow of ongoing support for the resistance as the war enters a critical phase. Mojtaba's message read, quote, "Standing firm and steadfast in the face of the fiercest enemies of the Islamic Ummah, nation, namely the United States and the Zionist regime, was among the most outstanding characteristics of the martyred Imam. The history of the Islamic resistance is replete with struggle, courage, and sacrifice, where resistance leaders gave their lives in defense of the Ummah without fearing any threat. We trust in his wisdom, intelligence, and courage to thwart the plots of the Zionist enemy, bring about its destruction, and restore honor and prosperity to the people of Lebanon," unquote. Food and energy prices in Israel have surged sharply, triggering widespread public anxiety as households struggle to cope with higher living costs in the middle of a regional war. There is growing unease as the Iran conflict grinds on and Tehran's regional proxies, including Hezbollah, intensify their involvement along Israel's northern front. Despite the uptick in Hezbollah attacks, reports say many Israelis living in vulnerable northern areas have not been allowed to fully evacuate, deepening frustration and fear. An Iranian outlet, Press TV, reported on March 30th that instability inside Israel is rising, highlighting protests, anger at the government, and mounting concern over the war's domestic fallout. Hezbollah has claimed dozens of attacks within a 24-hour period around this time, with some reports citing figures of over 30 strikes in a single day, using rockets, drones, and artillery against Israeli military sites. Israel, for its part, has confirmed that several soldiers have been killed and others wounded in recent Hezbollah operations, underscoring the escalating costs on the northern front. All of this has fed a sense of instability, unease, and rising anger toward the Israeli government, as many citizens worry that the combination of infrastructure attacks and rising prices could tip the country toward a deeper food crisis. Iranian missiles have caused fresh havoc at a key Israeli industrial site as the war grinds into its fifth week, underscoring how critical infrastructure is increasingly in the crosshairs. Israeli pesticides maker Adama said debris from an Iranian missile strike had damaged crucial infrastructure at its Makdashim plant in southern Israel. The company reported that a warehouse holding finished products, along with production equipment and essential systems, had been hit in the incident. The damage at the pesticide facility was detailed in a March 30th report, which highlighted the growing impact of missile and shrapnel strikes on Israel's industrial base. Adama, which produces crop protection materials and is part of the Chinese-owned Syngenta Group, said no injuries were reported, though the full extent of the damage is still being assessed. The company, in a statement to the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, said, quote, "Efforts are underway to resume normal operations in a gradual and safe manner as soon as possible." The company is assessing the impact on its operations and financial results, as well as the expected timeline for restoring the affected facilities to full operation, unquote. Iranian missile strikes on an Israeli pesticides factory came soon after Tehran hit the key port city of Haifa, signaling a broader campaign against critical economic infrastructure. Haifa's port is central to Israel's food security and, according to prior reporting, handled roughly 75% of the country's food imports in 2023, making any disruption there especially alarming. The city was targeted by Iran in what it described as its 33rd wave of missile and drone attacks on March 10th, underscoring how frequently this strategic hub has come under fire as the war has escalated. At least 4 soldiers from Israel have been killed and 2 others wounded in Lebanon, according to military reports and media coverage of the latest clashes. IDF troops were engaged in intense combat with Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, during a ground push that has seen repeated exchanges of fire along the border. The Israeli military confirmed the casualties, saying the troops were killed during ground engagements as forces advanced deeper into southern Lebanese territory. The clashes come amid a surge in Hezbollah's operations, which are increasingly targeting Israeli positions and patrols within Lebanese territory. One of the attacks involved a missile strike on troops positioned inside a house near Beit Lif, with Hezbollah claiming responsibility for the hit. In another operation, Hezbollah launched a barrage of rockets targeting IDF troops and military vehicles, seeking to disrupt movement and command nodes. The group has also expanded its attacks beyond traditional combat zones, firing rockets at several Israeli settlements along the northern border. Settlements in Mechela, Avavim, and Kiryat Shmona are among the areas that have frequently come under fire in recent weeks, affecting civilian life. Additional strikes have targeted positions such as Al-Gajar and Al-Malakiya, widening the geographic scope of the confrontation. In a significant development, Hezbollah claimed it launched rockets at Israel's Gilat base, deep inside northern Israel. The strategic site near Tel Aviv is associated with Israel's elite intelligence unit 8200, which handles signals and cyber operations. If confirmed, such a strike would represent an expansion in the range and targeting profile of Hezbollah's operations into new areas. In southern Lebanon, the confrontation has intensified, with Hezbollah fighters targeting IDF forces in the Deir Syrian region. Repeated shelling was also reported at El Friz Hill, where Israeli forces have reportedly gathered and established firing positions. In a key direct engagement, Hezbollah fighters claimed they destroyed an Israeli Merkava tank, underscoring the growing intensity of close-range combat.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.